In the early days of video games, all we had were beeps and boops, and those could be written off as irrelevant because of today's musical standards for video game music. But you'd be stupid if you did that. Those beeps and boops are not only important for multiple reasons, but they should be applauded because they are the examples of how to truly create something out of nothing. With the technical limitations resulting in games looking like this, the music was there to help the player get immersed into that minimal world. It could offer the feeling of accomplishment after obtaining an item, or it could create a pants-shitting sense of dread the moment you hear that sinister voice. Beware. Oh fuck, he's here, we gotta go! Ah! So when did drumming become a part of these soundtracks? I know arcade machines had them, but those are supercomputers compared to consoles like the Atari or the NES, so I'm only gonna focus on those earlier home consoles. I honestly thought that the NES was where the drums originally came into the picture, but what I was shocked to find out is that the Atari 2600 has exactly one game that is capable of producing a drum beat. Games like Blueprint and Moon Patrol are the pioneers of the original video game soundtrack, but neither of them have a drum beat in it. It took 5 years after the console launch, but we went from games sounding like this to this. Holy shit, that sounds pretty good. That's because it's Pitfall 2, baby.
J-Rock, baby.
This is the best soundtrack on the 2600 by a mile. What's insane about it is that this is the only game on the Atari that is capable of producing 4 music tracks, when the console is only able to output 2 of them. So how is that even possible? Well, it's because of this man right here. He is straight cheesing in that photo. This is David Crane, and he created a custom processor chip that not only improved the graphics, but also added 2 more music channels into Pitfall 2. Most games for the system just use those channels for generating sound effects, but with the help of this display processor chip, Crane here was able to bring the snare drum to home consoles. This game has a nice grooving snare beat that helps push the player forward. What the hell is going on? You see, this last audio channel that was used for generating the snare hit was also needed to produce sound effects. So anytime you jumped or got a collectible, it would override that snare sound. But it's done so masterfully that you don't even notice it unless you're looking for it. Pitfall 2 was the first game that was capable of producing 4 separate audio channels, but in only 2 years, that became the standard, when this landmark title took the world by storm. That's right, we're talking about Super Mario Bros. Yahoo! I was still in my dad's nuts when the NES came out, so I can only imagine just how revolutionary this must have sounded to anyone that had previously played an Atari. With the capability of having 5 separate audio channels, these games were able to create a melody and have a drum beat underneath it. The 4 main channels that were used to make music on the NES were 2 square wave channels, which was used to create the melody and the harmony, a triangle wave channel, which was mostly used to create bass lines, and a noise generator, which was used to create those sick drum beats. That unused 5th channel was actually capable of using samples, but most games didn't use it because you'd have to crush the audio all the way down to 1 bit. And that sounds great, doesn't it? So with this handy visualizer, I'm going to show you exactly how this iconic theme works. The 2 square waves were used for creating the bouncing melody of the theme. The triangle wave was used for that smooth bass line. And the noise track is what gives this theme its drum part. For having so many limitations in front of the composer, this drum track is genius because it overcomes a problem I haven't even talked about yet. The noise generator does a great job of replicating the sound of drums being played, but the technology was so far behind that 2 notes couldn't be played at the same time. So how did they solve this problem? With linear drumming, of course. In Drum Nerd Talk, linear drumming is when no 2 notes are played at the same time. For example, so if I'm just hitting one component at a time, like I'm doing here, then we have linear drumming. And that's exactly what Super Mario Bros. Does. Now Mario was the first game released for the system, and they had already managed to create this beautiful piece of music that has stood the test of time. And that was only the beginning. With a system library of over 700 games, this behemoth of a console houses the best 8-bit tracks to be found, even today. And most of those bangers are found in the Mega Man franchise. Holy fuck, this sounds good! Mega Man's music perfectly accompanies the gameplay and creates an amazing complement to each stage by matching the tone of the level with the music it deserves. The second and third game is where the best tracks are found, like you just heard. And now let me show you some more examples. We've got Woodman from Mega Man 2, Mega Man 2's title screen, Dr. Wily's Castle, Snake Man, wait a minute, all of those have something in common. Oh yeah, it's because they fucking rock. As developers and composers got used to this new technology, the music started to truly captivate the player and transport them into the world that they were playing. And no one did this better than Nintendo. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, even that cotton candy ball named Kirby, all had their main themes established right here on the NES. We've got Zelda's overworld theme, the Brinstar theme from Metroid, and Green Greens from Kirby's Adventure. All of these are being iterated upon over 30 years later. And that just shows that you can create something truly memorable, even if you have so many barriers trying to block you. Even if it's true that some of these NES games are hard to go back and play today, the music and the drumming should not be forgotten. I'm gonna end this video with a montage of the best drumming to be found on the NES, but first, I just want to say thank you for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Now let's get drumming.